Vegas used to be where people could live big at an affordable price. Now, even a market trip is like gambling. The city was once a symbol of the touchable dream, where mechanics from Ohio, truck drivers from Canada, or hotel waiters could all save a few $100s to live like royalty for a few days. However, what you can now see are the numbers on the bill that stun anyone. The casino was still bright, but the table was empty. The middle class quietly withdrew, giving way to a group of tourists carrying Prada bags, and Louis Vuitton won big without having to bet any money. Meanwhile, people who really live here are losing every day. House prices have skyrocketed, rents have hit record levels, and jobs that once supported hundreds of thousands of families are now not enough to keep the roof off. Vegas, a place once built for people to dream about, is now a place that forces them to wake up in fear of survival every day. In today's video, we'll not only talk about the cost of living that is strangling the people of Vegas, but also about how a city that was once created to bring joy is slowly turning into a symbol of the despair of the American dream. Do you still remember? When Vegas is still the place that once made America believe that with just a few $100s, you can get your hands on the dream of luxury. Now, the price to live here, or just to survive here, is nothing more than a gamble. In the past, people came to Vegas to live big without having to worry. Hotel rooms are only $39, buffet $9.99, cocktail 99 cents, and free parking for all. But entering Vegas today, you'll see that promise twisted into a list of overcharges. A room at Park MGM is still listed for $39, but comes with a resort fee of $50 a night, which means the fee is more expensive than the room. A $5 can of Coke, 6 pieces of $19 chicken wings, 2 glasses of Red Bull vodka for nearly $40, and a locked refrigerator you have to pay extra to open. Even filtered water, which seemed free, was charged $13.50 for 2 bottles with a restock fee. The feeling of generosity and friendliness that was once the soul of Vegas is now replaced by cold reserve. No more 99-cent shrimp cocktail, no more buffet $9.99, but $50 breakfast and $32 burger. For ordinary families, it is no longer a vacation, but a financial ambush. This year, tourism in Vegas fell more than 10%, its sharpest decline since the 2008 Great Recession. Those who once considered Vegas a familiar destination now simply say, "We won't come back again." According to a survey by Predictive Insights, 46% of Nevada residents think Vegas has become too expensive to visit, with another 11% blaming for hidden charges that gradually alienate visitors from the city. The locals themselves admitted, "We no longer go to the Strip. Everything there is now absurdly expensive." The story of Vegas today is not just the story of tourists, but the story of a city that is losing its ability to support itself. As resort fees and food prices increase, the cost of living also escalates. The median income in Vegas is still around $26 while electricity, water, and housing bills are all rising. People, who used to be proud of living on their own work, now have to choose between turning on the air conditioner or paying for food. In the 70s-80s, Vegas was the pride of America, a place that symbolized the belief that with hard work, you will be rewarded. For now, every experience is tied to price, and every pleasure becomes a premium service. From buffets, shows, to parking, everything that was once free is tagged with prices. The feeling of being welcomed is gone, giving way to the feeling of being charged. The familiar sight today is of a middle-aged couple walking along the Strip, looking up at the brilliant sign of Dior and Bulgari, and quietly turning away. They used to come here every year, when Vegas was a cheap but worthwhile pleasure. Now, just a simple meal makes them hesitate. For them, and millions of others, Vegas is no longer paradise, but a talking bill, a city built on the aspiration. Anyone can touch happiness now makes people feel excluded from the game. And in that spin of profits, Vegas isn't just losing visitors, it's losing itself. If even the streets that once promised the American dream have now become places ordinary people cannot enter, what else can we say about a country that once boasted that opportunity belonged to everyone? Just a few blocks from the Strip, Vegas's bright lights began to give way to temporary housing, vacant stores, and haystacks of moving vehicles. There, the locals are living another gamble. Not on the table, but in their own house bills. Vegas was once considered a land where waiters, drivers, and hotel staff could buy houses, raise children, and enjoy some of the city light they helped create. But now, with escalating rents and living costs, that game has only losers. When travel dropped more than 10%, the lowest level since the 2008 crisis, a series of waiters, bartenders, and dealers had their work hours cut off or stopped working completely. Some properties around Paradise and Winchester, once crowded with hotel workers and migrant workers, are now sporadic for lease. People leave in small groups, moving to the edge of the desert or to neighboring states where costs are cheaper and sleep is not obsessed with bills. An employee who worked in the hotel services department said she was forced to live with 3 other people in a 2-bedroom apartment to split the rent. Back in the day, I could pay rent, buy food, and still have some to save. Now everything seems to slide out of hand. The average income is still around 26 hours, while rents have increased so quickly that they are equivalent to California, but without California salaries. The once cozy working-class housing complexes have now been replaced by Airbnb and short-term rental apartments, causing rents to increase and the community to lose stability. People living temporarily, temporary jobs, temporary neighbors, make a city without roots. When local businesses lost customers, schools were short of students, and stores were closed, Vegas still looked shimmering from afar. But the closer it was, the emptier it was. Opposing images appear every night. Behind the illuminated glass towers are small canvas tents where people who once served in those same resorts now have to sleep in the desert. Some used to have stable jobs, now drifting from one parking lot to another, away from the camera-filled downtown and police patrols. Vegas residents seem to have lost the right to live in their city. People who have worked here for 20 or 30 years have left because they cannot bear the new costs. As the working class disappears, Vegas also loses its heartbeat, the energy that once filled the place with laughter, sweat, and pride. Today, Vegas is no longer a story of chance, but of selection. Whoever can pay the price can stay. Whoever is not strong enough must retreat. This city, which was once born for people to try their luck, now turns people's daily lives into a game they can never win. If the people who built this city can't live here anymore, is Vegas still their city, or just a giant casino for those who have enough money not to have to play? Entering casinos that were once the heart of Las Vegas, like the MGM Grand or Bellagio, people can easily feel something strange: silence. The long row of blackjack tables was empty. The dealer stood looking at the clock, and the sound of chips clicking, which once symbolized the rhythm of life in the city of, now rang out lonelily. Vegas used to be bustling not because of the tycoons, but because of the crowds of workers, truck drivers, weekend teachers, and ordinary people who came here looking for some excitement after a week of work. But now, the place that used to be games for all is turning into a stage for the few. The days of $3 betting tables are over. Now the minimum for a game of blackjack of $25 to $50 alone is enough to make many people withdraw. No more free buffets for players, no more cocktails to go with, no more bursting of laughter when someone wins small. Instead, there was the dim light of the empty lobby and a group of high-class guests carrying Prada bags. Louis Vuitton went for a walk without bothering to bet. That air is not only cold, it is also sad. A dealer at Bellagio shared that she used to work 3 shifts per week. Now she only has 2 left. Cocktail waiters have to turn to sales or move on to other things because they can't afford the rent. As the middle class retreated, gaming revenue plummeted, and casinos began looking to make up for, with sky-high room, food, and service prices. But the price is the atmosphere that once made Vegas special also disappear. At one time, Working in Vegas was considered a source of pride. Dealer, bartender, table sitter. They are the soul of the city who keeps Vegas alive. But now, many of them have their shifts cut, rotational breaks, or quit their jobs. As empty tables, income decline, and housing and electricity and water costs skyrocket, the dream of living as a professional in the City of Light becomes more distant than ever. The entire ecosystem that depends on them is also shaking. Small eateries around the Strip, which used to live off middle-class customers, are now closed midweek because they are empty. Souvenir shops, laundromats, gas stations are all quiet. Vegas is still on, but cold, a resident said. Lights are still on, but the soul is off. Casino operators now bet on a group of rich travelers who don't mind the $129 price for a tequila. But that way, Vegas seems to have lost itself. The city once promised that anyone could try their luck, now seems to be only for someone who can spend like a king. And as the dealers, bartenders, and people who once created the identity of this place gradually disappeared, Vegas not only lost its players, it also lost its heartbeat. Perhaps Vegas has never looked so flashy and empty. A city built on the aspiration of everyone has a chance has now become the mirror of America itself, where the working class gradually disappears from the frame, leaving only the light of the luxuries they once helped create. Vegas used to be a symbol of mass fun, where workers could enjoy the feeling of luxury at hand. But when the popular tables disappeared, another era began, the era of corporations. Most of the major resorts and casinos on the Strip are now owned or operated by giants such as MGM Resorts, Caesars Entertainment, Blackstone, and Vici Properties. Vegas is no longer a city of small bosses or local families. It became the laboratory of global corporations where every square meter of light was converted into a profit index. The money-making model also changes. From cheap to all, to a Vegas of buffet, showgirl, and liberality, turns into maximum spend for each wealthy customer. A $22 cocktail, a $400 caviar, a $300 wine, and a simple breakfast now hit $50. Everything that used to be free from parking, drinks to, show tickets is now monetized. In corporate Vegas's new philosophy, every breath, every step, every experience has a price. The symbols that once made Vegas's soul also disappeared one after another. Mirage Volcano was once a free meeting point for visitors, is now replaced by a high-end shopping area. The Treasure Island pirate scene, which once made children happy, was replaced by Dior and Bulgari stores. A Vegas that once lived on mass energy now survives on minority luxury. Corporations talk about class transformation. And yes, Vegas is more luxurious, more efficient, is worth the money. But behind that compliment is a reality. The city is no longer built to serve the masses. Casinos now charge more from rooms, food, and shopping than from the game, which was once the soul of Vegas. Gambling is now just luxury accessories, a flashy symbol kept for there, like a layer of lipstick on a face that has lost its smile. Local residents realize it better than anyone. "We are no longer on the Strip," said one resident. "Vegas is not for us now, but for those who come to show off." Residential areas around the center that lived off the middle class now wither, while corporations still announce record profits. People find themselves no longer belonging to the place they once built, like miners driven out of a gold mine they themselves cleared. Corporate Vegas boasts new class, but what they call evolution, with many people, is just exile. Vegas may be getting brighter, but it's no longer a warm light from people who believe in opportunity. It's the cold glow of the balance sheet, where every value is measured in money, and every memory is sold little by little. A city that once taught America that anyone can win big now makes its own people feel like losers. And perhaps, in the biggest hand of its history, Vegas was not defeated by the slump, but by its ambition to become a more perfect. In the middle of the Nevada desert, the heat was once part of the Vegas identity that sets this city apart. Dazzling, wild, sleepless. But now, that very sunshine is becoming a silent traitor. This summer, the temperature regularly exceeds 110 degrees F, 43 degrees. At night, it is still no less than 90 degrees. The air was so thick that just a few minutes of walking on the strip left visitors stunned. Locals call it the heat spares no one, a natural tax that every Vegas resident pays, whether they like it or not. During the day, tourists jostle in closed air-conditioned areas, while locals struggle with record-high electricity bills. Las Vegas energy consumption skyrocketed as the air conditioner had to run continuously, causing the cost of living to add a new layer of pressure. For those living on a 26-hour salary, electricity has become a scary part of their monthly budget. "I have to choose between turning on the air conditioner or buying food," an elderly resident shared, his voice hoarse from the heat and fatigue. And that's only half the story. Water, what was once a symbol of luxury in Vegas, is now the biggest burden. Supplies from the Colorado River plummeted. Lake Mead fell to historic lows, forcing authorities to impose irrigation restrictions and increase water prices. Hotels still keep fountains, green swimming pools, and dazzling spas. But those huge maintenance costs go directly to room rates, resort fees, and service bills that locals have to pay. Indirectly, the scene becomes bitter. Right in the middle of the thirsty city, artificial waterfalls still flow to serve the image of entertainment paradise. Meanwhile, in the suburbs, people have to water their plants with recycled water and are fined if they exceed the limit. The desert, which is the foundation of Vegas, seems to be turning against humans, not only with heat, but with increasingly expensive survival costs. The heat now comes not only from the climate, but also from the financial pressures pressing on every roof. A taxi driver said that every summer he loses nearly half of his income just to pay his electricity bill. Vegas is now not only hot because of the weather, but because everything is on fire, from bill to hope. People who once loved the sunshine of Vegas now just want to avoid it. Residential areas on the fringes of, which used to be considered safe and cheaper than, now become temporary shelters. Many elderly people leave the city in the summer, living off relatives in other states to avoid the heat. And those who stayed behind suffered from broken cars, broken air conditioning, and exhaustion of their bodies in the midst of the harshest season in history. As every bill increases with temperature, as nature and people get tired together, a question quietly rings in the heat. Is there anyone else who can keep faith in the desert dream, when the desert itself is reclaiming what it has given? Las Vegas used to be more than just a city, it was a promise. A place where workers, no matter how humble their background, believe they can change their lives with sweat, perseverance, and a little luck. Everyone deserves a chance. That is the spirit that created this city from sand and trust. But today, along with the passing of the middle class, who once kept Vegas at heartbeat, that spirit is also gradually fading. The light was still shining, but the laughter was gone. The casino still works, but there is no longer the warmth of real people's stories and real work. Only the music, air conditioning, and hollow sound of the space are left optimized for profit. The once bustling streets with hotel staff, taxi drivers, bartenders, and budget tourists are now silent. A woman who worked in the service industry for 35 years said, "I no longer recognize my city. Vegas used to live. Now it just operates." The further away from the strip, the sadder the scene. Once crowded suburban neighborhoods are now sparse. Schools lack students. Small eateries are closed. Empty buildings are gradually turning into short-term rental apartments or homeless shelters. In those areas, at night there were no more people, only the sound of air conditioning wailing in harmony with the heat of the desert. The feeling that no longer belongs to spreads everywhere. Many residents say they feel like tourists in their own city, have to pay a fee to park, pay a fee to enter places they once freely walked through, pay a fee to live amid the light they once helped light up. Those who have been with the tourism industry for 30-40 years must now leave or stay in silence, watching the place that once supported them turn into a symbol of separation. Vegas is now described as beautiful from afar but cold from inside, a city built with light but lacking human breath. It all still works smoothly, traveling, trading, performing. But what is being lost cannot be measured by revenue, which is trust. The government may announce that the number of visitors is recovering, that Vegas is still standing, but to the people, that light has changed color. And perhaps this is Vegas's last gamble, a city that bets its future on light while its soul is gradually fading away in the darkness. If the people who built Vegas can't live here anymore, will the light still make sense? And can a city that no longer believes in it continue to live? Las Vegas still sparkles in the Nevada desert. That light has never gone out. But perhaps never before has it been so lonelily bright. Under the glamorous shell of the new towers is a city that is quietly losing sight of the most precious thing, its people. People who used to sweat to light that light, once believed that as long as they worked hard, life would smile, now stand on the sidelines, looking at Vegas from afar, like strangers visiting old dreams. This city is born from trust, not from profit. It used to teach the whole world that everyone can win big. But now, the question becomes more bitter. How can a city win when its creators lose? How can the lights bring hope when there is no one down there to believe in it? Maybe Vegas will still live, but it's a different Vegas, where people become spectators, and the past is just a memory. And then, one day, when the last lights on the Strip go out, what's left is probably not the ashes of a city, but the echo of a question that has never been answered. Will the dream America still exists, or has it been sold, piecemeal, along with the soul of Vegas? If you've ever lived here, worked in the Vegas lights, or dreamed about this city, leave your thoughts. What is Vegas in you? A symbol, a wound, or a beautiful memory that is gradually fading? And if you want to continue exploring with me stories about America behind the light, where trust, loss, and hope intersect, please like, share, and subscribe. Because only when we recount things that are disappearing will they have a chance to exist again. The content in this video is built on public documents, newsletters, and actual interviews from local people for the purpose of social analysis and reflection, without accusations, assertions, or attack any individual, organization, or government. All facts, quotes, and figures are used with a spirit of honesty and respect for the origin. Some details are edited, redescribed, or omitted to suit the documentary format, but do not change the nature of the information. This video does not encourage extremist ideology, discrimination, or politicization of issues, but aims to reflect real changes in human life, especially workers, ordinary residents who are suffering from the influence of economic change, society. The ultimate goal of the series is to create a humane dialogue, helping the audience look back at a part of contemporary American reality, so as not to forget that behind every bright light there are always people who are silently paying the price for the dream we once believed in.